Alright, so this one... Hello, friends. I am dipping into the new Vampire the Masquerade demo, which is The Reckoning of New York. I've been trying to play the old Vampire the Masquerade games because I'm in another phase. Not really a phase, I really like things revolving around vampires. Like, my favorite book when I was a kid was based on this. I was like 3 years old reading these. When I got onto Facebook or MySpace, back when MySpace when like, took over middle school. Holy shit, cringe. Anyway, I've been trying to play those and they've been just crashing back to back to back. And I don't know if it's just like they're not compatible with Windows 11 that well or what. Like, obviously, they're not that new. But I guess we'll see what happens. I'm gonna try their new one. I think this was the unnamed game. Or maybe not. Nope, it is. It was the unnamed one. But now we know it's called Reckoning of New York. So there is not play in the background. That's gonna be interesting. Alright. Oh, there's two! Oh, shit! Scared the puppy. Alright. So it looks like we're gonna have two characters that are playable, which is really neat. Kali is from Ravnos. I don't know too much about their different like clans and things like that. My sire's gone AWOL, and I've got no clue why. It sucks, but hey, I'm a Raven. When things get dicey, I go with my gut. And right now it's telling me to just keep searching. Hasn't let me down so far. And it won't start now, right? Wow. Okay, animalism allows kindred to communicate with control or feed more efficiently on animals. Obfuscate, the power allows us to hide easily without being noticed, cast illusions. Presence embodies kindred ability to influence a social scene as flawlessly as they do their hunting grounds. I do like this one because you have a lot of social situations from what I remember. Oh, you can only pick... Okay. You have to do two of them. Struggle against your inner beast by adding extra cost and risk to disciplines. Holy shit. This is interesting so far. Night 1. The beginning. I've never been able to play one of these. I might actually try it on one of my other computers. December 2024. Really? No Country for Odkin. D'Angelo's Burrow. You could even call it that. It feels more like a rough draft of an asteroid belt. Suggesting it's shabby almost gives it too much credit, as if there's some hidden lure to the mess, which there definitely isn't. His head's cocked thoughtfully, beady eyes piercing me right through. Does this acute interest stem from the matter I brought in? Or does he simply enjoy watching me wriggling in this wretched chair? I'd ask, but underneath the repulsive mask of his face, I noticed something that looks a lot like fear. A detail I pocket for later. A strong synthetic odor taints this delay. The world is moving forward, but this crap reeks far worse than your average smoke. And the way he squashes those mini cigarettes in the ashtray, it's clear D'Angelo is struggling to shake off old habits. Not that I'm one to throw stones, but he's quite the character. Useful, but infuriating too at times. Like right now, for example. Oh, this guy. You lost your sire. Am I speaking in riddles? Oh, you have to hold it down, okay. Did my words evaporate before hitting your ears? He rolls his eyes so theatrical you'd think he's auditioning for a noir play. It's my way of cracking the case, you know. It'll lend a hand, Colleen. Come on, spill the beans. Lay it all out. That's the issue. He just flaked on our meeting, and I don't know why. Raynard Cassell has a knack for vanishing, though. Maybe he had to make himself scarce. Skip town. He'd have left me a clue for sure. You still relying on those wall tags? Cryptolect, a specific cipher used to each Ravno's band, allowing them to communicate in coded language. Kali's coterie employs a modified hobo code sign. A modified... Okay. This is a early access demo, distinguished by the addition of 3 lines over a dot, which alters the original symbol's meaning, allowing only those in the know to understand the message behind it. The hobo code or whatnot. Little Chandler here has totally been killing it lately. I mean, I might have casually mentioned the code once or twice, but nothing major. Alright, maybe I showed him a symbol. One that's pretty much useless on its own. If Renard catches wind of me spilling the beans, he's gonna flip. He's like Fort Knox when it comes to our secrets. We do. And I found absolutely zilch. Which doesn't happen, by the way. We never bail on each other when we split up for stuff like this. It's just too dangerous. Maybe you didn't have a chance to leave a trail. Where were you two supposed to rendezvous? Why is he snooping around so much? Feels like I'm on trial here. You literally asked me to conduct this investigation. What do you expect me to do? Pull an answer out of my ass? I really don't want to know what he could pull out of his ass. And I intend to tell him as much, but he speaks first. Besides, I already know your spot. Coney Island, right? Feel my eyelid twitch. You're bluffing. I was, but your reaction spilled the whole story. Maybe dropping by D'Angelo's wasn't such a great plan. Maybe he's not as useless as I assumed, but he's definitely got me on edge. I shoot him a skeptical glance, but he appears to be elsewhere, lost in his own thoughts. His lips move silently, almost like he's whispering a prayer. What's with the mumbling? He glances at me, genuinely confused. What mumbling? You know what? Never mind. So you made your way to Coney Island, but came up empty-handed. No Cassell. No trail to follow. Anything noteworthy at all? Just your typical shady assholes waiting around. Clearly up to something. Pretty standard for New York, as well as I'm aware. Shady asshole. Ooh, Kindred? Camarilla. Is it Camarilla or Camarilla? To a single vampire or the entire vampire community. The term lick is used by the anarchs to serve a similar purpose. Regular folks, twitchy and restless. If it wasn't so passé, I'd bet they were gonna pull off a flash mob. A look of confusion flashes across his face. Flash mob? The hell's a flash mob? What flash mob? We stare at each other for a while, I smugly and he utterly perplexed. I savor the moment, waiting for him to break the silence. But when he finally speaks, it's not at all what I was expecting to hear. To be frank, Kelly, I'm running short on answers. Your sire just seems temporarily unavailable, or gone for good, or something else. Can't say I'm entirely shocked. He tries to stroll around nonchalantly, but the mess in his bureau just as nonchalantly throws him off balance. Completely ruins the noir vibe, so I shoot him a cheeky grin, but he's too caught up to even notice. Breaking character must have rattled him good. If I were you, I'd take a leaf out of his book and disappear pronto. In fact, that's exactly what I intend to do once I'm through with my business in the city. I unpocket the fear I observed a moment ago and give D'Angelo another good lasting look. He's genuinely terrified, seriously scared. There's this hint of desperation, too. Gotta tame my inner con artist. She's practically salivating in my head, just waiting to join. But when things go south, D'Angelo is the buddy you stick with, not somebody you ditch and forget. Gianni, seriously, what's up? Kind of freaking out here. Too many loose ends to stitch together to stitch together a complete tale. And frankly, it's too lengthy for just one night anyway. There's been a storm gathering in the city. I've been through some rough patches, but this feels like a whole different kind of trouble. Cut the cryptic shit for once. He looks over my shoulder, lost in thought, like he's figuring out how to drop an anchor on someone who's already drowning. My kind has been dropping like flies lately. Nobody seems a specific target, but it's hitting mostly dustborn. Thin blood. Neither entirely vampire nor mortal, the ever-changing nature of the dustborn evokes pity, jealousy, and fear in equal measure. Considered little more than trash by most vampires, the thin bloods are banded together, leveraging their resistance to sunlight and the strange mercurial adaptability of their powers against their oppressors. So those are Dampier. Neat. Mercurians, the young ones, run off chameleons, abortions. Interesting. Court? Okay, just there. City's kindred. The order in the domain is maintained by a sheriff. The gatherings are organized in secret sanctuaries known as Elysiums. The court dubs it the culling of thin bloods. Real knee slapper, they've got sons of guns. But there's been other victims too. A chill runs down my dead spine. Are these sects seriously at each other's throats over that hard? Same old song and dance, right? But this time there's a curveball. Enough to make them halt the hostilities and... You know what? I'll fill you in while we hit the road. The urge to flee slams into me like a freight train. There's something about his tone that almost convinces me to hightail it out of the city. But it's not quite time to make a break for it. I might stick around for a while, so... D'Angelo is physically concerned. Should I be worried too? You're really not gonna let him go, huh? Of course not. I'll find Renard, come hell or high water. Besides, someone has to handle detective duty, since, judging by how desperately you want me to drive you out of town, damsel in distress is already taken. D'Angelo tilts his head downward just enough to fix his crooked smile. A smile abandoned by joy long ago. I know you well enough to not even bother trying to change your mind. You have a knack for diving headfirst into trouble, so hear me out. Keep your head down, stay off the radar, don't feed willy-nilly. Above all, don't reveal your true nature unless you're 100% sure nobody can see you. Thou shalt not reveal thy true nature to those not of the blood. Doing so shall renounce thy claims of blood. So the masquerade, basically. I'm not joking, Callie. Keep low. Or else. Yeah. Thanks for the tip. I rise to my feet and wave goodbye as I head out the door. I'll grab you once I've found Renard. On my own, since you've been such a big help. Takes me a while to actually notice the air around me, crisp and clear. Without the ever-present stench of D'Angelo's nicotine habit. I find it's taking me longer to each time to catch on. Until I reach the point where I don't notice anymore. Renard's silence and the total lack of hints about his whereabouts bug me in more ways. Way more than I'm ready to say out loud. The streets are deserted. It's like everyone vanished, scared off by the winter chill that mortals seem to hate. The darkness in the night, lit up by bursts of color. It's actually kind of beautiful in a bleak urban way. My sire is gone, and I don't know what to do. Back at D'Angelo's, I was all talk, swearing that I'd track down Renard by myself or burn up trying. Pretty sure he saw right through my BS. Were I half as confident as I pretended, I wouldn't feel so utterly lost. Late December, in the big fucking dangerous apple of all places. D'Angelo's warnings have any weight, maybe it's the time to bulk up on our supplies. Our coterie, let's just say we're big on being ready for anything. Renard's the mastermind behind all our safety nets, making sure we don't even brush close to failure. His obsessive preparedness has pulled us out of the fire more than once. Wherever we're running our gigs, we've got these spots stocked up with goods and, let's call it, personal protection. One of those hidden caches lies just around the block, if I remember right. It's been ages, but that's probably the first place I should head up before I go hunting for Renard. Is it Reynard? Like Raynor from like StarCraft? Or like Renard? Renard. Better safe than in a grave, right? I'm gonna save. Stash my RV. I'm gonna check out that place downtown. Great. Just fucking great. Looking over the wreckage of what used to be my secret stash, I can't stop the flood of swears that could probably rouse Kane himself from his eternal rest. Whoever the hell found it, they cleared it out completely. Kane is a mythical figure considered to be the first and most powerful vampire, the same person as Cain from the biblical stories. Some vampires refer to themselves as Cainites, members of the race of Cain. They didn't even have the courtesy to leave my bad for the raid note. It wasn't a treasure trove or anything, just an old combat knife, bulletless revolver, and some jewelry I was planning on pawning off for far less than what it's worth, but I get why they'd take that stuff. Seriously. What's anyone gonna do with a cooler full of expired blood bags? Could this have been the work of one of our kin? After what D'Angelo said, it doesn't seem too far-fetched. Fuck! Whoever they are, they better hope I don't find them first. Stepping back onto the streets, the harsh reality hits me. The gear's history. No amount of complaining is going to magically bring it back. Believe me. I tried. But then again, maybe I'm just being paranoid. D'Angelo has a thing for urban legends and slapping conspiracy theories onto pretty much anything. Why should this time be different? It's Christmas after all. In these parts, looting is practically a holiday tradition. As I'm coming into terms with my situation and thinking about what to do next, I get that weird feeling. Like my inner alarm system is giving me a nudge, telling me something's off. A quick look behind me confirms it. I've got followers. Not just one, but two. Finally, I'm hitting my social media milestones. My gut tells me to move faster, and I find myself darting into a barely lit alleyway, disappearing into the shadows. I press myself against the cold bricks and wait. That's when I catch it. a high-pitched voice filled with endless babble. Her words cut through the air, harsh and acidic. She's talking about me, and it's far from flattering. It was her. The freak draped in all that drab gray. I even told ya. Drab gray? What the hell does she think she is? Let me get a good look at that. Girl, we've come back empty-handed for the third time and we're fucking cooked. Fuck her and her cheap-ass forest ranger getup. The nerve to diss my look. Maybe not after me anyway. The one making all the noise is fidgeting non-stop like a squirrel high on candy, muttering something I can't make out. It's clear planning on impromptu actions isn't her strong suit. The other one seems timid, obviously wishing she was anywhere but here. Enough is enough. I'd find this whole scene hilarious under different circumstances, but I've got bigger fish to fry than this low-budget permanent midnight remake. And what I hear. When the shadows envelop me, it feels like slipping into another layer of myself. Cool and weirdly comforting, whispering ancient mysteries that's meant just for my ears. Makes me feel invincible, like a stealthy panther lurking in unseen, dense undergrowth, gliding silently through the serene darkness. As I walk past both girls, I catch a glimpse of a two-way radio and my revolver. My revolver, tucked underneath the largemouth's jacket. She's the embodiment of every mean girl stereotype, but armed and dangerous. Mostly to herself. In the end, I leave them both be. They weren't exactly a threat, but turns out D'Angelo wasn't just blowing smoke up my ass. But none of that alters my goal. Finding Reynard remains a top priority. Is it Renard? Reynard? Finding Renard. I like Renard. Could go back to Coney Island to see if he turned up while I was gone. Possibility of berating him for thoughtlessness cracks me up. And never gonna move the RV before it draws too much attention. Before some busybody develops an unwanted interest in it. There's no point in driving it to Coney Island when I could take the subway, so... What to do first? If anything happens to our stash, Renard's gonna skin me when he shows up. I like my skin. Have for as long as I can remember. Plus, it's not like he's facing his final death or anything. New York really lives up to its rep as the city that never sleeps. People keep walking past, oblivious to the intensity of my gaze. The blood slowly coursing through their veins just beneath the surface of their skin tempts me in ways I cannot describe. I forced myself to look away, not for the dregs of my own mortality, nor because I feel any ground respect for them. Simply from that. Too many eyes, too much risk. Coteries unspoken credo. As I approach the ruined parking lot where I've stashed the RV, I freeze. Shit. There's already a crowd milling around. 2? No. 3 of them. Maybe mortal, but kindred or ghouls are much more likely. It's what random thieves suddenly got their hands itchy for an RV as old as mine. No. They must be Camarilla? Is that... I like saying that rather than Camarilla. Camarilla. They must be Camarilla types, given where we are. Blood of a vampire is vitae. I can feel my vitae starting to boil. But I play cool. What's their interest in my RV? How do they even find it? More importantly, how do I get them to leave? In a blink, the drifting snowflakes seem deafening next to my gate. The kindred don't see me. Can't detect a hint of my movement as I approach my RV. Seeing it like this shatters the remnants of my heart. They've wrecked it, digging through hidden compartments, flipping through confidential documents that won't reveal anything to them, spilling my meticulously stored blood, and tossing my sparse furnishings onto the pavement. My home, violated, ruined, done. Hang back until they're all outside, huddled together over some undoubtedly crucial matter, barely containing the wrath simmering just under my cold, undead skin. I force myself to calm down. I'll sneak into the driver's seat before my illusion fades away, beating right off under their noses. Bold, maybe even a bit stupid, but, well, follow my gut like I always do, and it rarely fails me. When it does, oh boy. Ravnos, masters of misdirection. The Ravnos prefer not to fight or bleed for something they can obtain through settler means. They can charm and vanish within the same mortal breath. And those once fooled quickly learn to question their very senses when in the company of ravens. Always on the move, the Ravnos can never rest in the same place for long, lest their curse light them on fire as they slumber. Rogues, ravens, daredevils, the haunted. I'm gonna like this one. I mean, I am Ravnos, right? The first idea that pops into my head is typically the winner. Just as I'm about to make my move toward the RV, I spot her. Actually, scratch that. My skin that reacts first. Every hair standing on end as if electrified or electrocuted. Same thing. An alarm blares in my head, screaming danger. Only then do I see her stepping smoothly out of the shadows, yet relaxed and yet somehow predatory. Leaving so soon, sugar? I have no idea who she is, and I'm normally spot on in identifying those who would prefer me finally dead. It's handy in my line of business. Yep, duty calls, and by duty, I mean you can fuck right off. She doesn't even blink at my quip and keeps inching closer. I feel an urge to step back, but a quick side-eye informs me that prowling kindred have returned and are standing right behind me. I'm afraid you're gonna have to come with me. Sorry, no can do, sweetheart. Dad always said not to go off with strangers. Her smile stretches wider, but it's devoid of any real humor or warmth. She's only steps away now, and I'm effectively trapped. Well, this stranger hasn't given you too many options, doll. I'm Valerie Duval, the scourge of New York. An executor subordinated directly to the sheriff with a penchant for eliminating K-tips and the thin-blooded. The council issued an arrest warrant in your name since they've taken an interest in your unusual endeavors. With those recent business meetings, you left a trail of breadcrumbs too scrumptious not to follow. The fuck? We barely had time to look around New York, let alone meet up with anyone. Now, you can either accompany without a fuss, or... well, let's just leave it at the first option. It's decidedly in your best interest. She gestures to one of the kindred behind me who brandishes a hefty, sharpened stake. My throat tightens involuntarily. The fuck does the council want with me? Our coteries business isn't all that against their precious traditions, is it? Honestly, you've got the wrong person, unless you're talking about a parole violation, in which case, hey, I've been guilty of that way back when. I'm seriously just here by chance, so if we could just... The tip of the stake jabs painfully against my back, right where my heart would be beating madly if it wasn't all shriveled up. Shit! Last chance. Alright, Jesus! Fucking go with you. Valerie tosses me a so-called smile, the sort that could turn the sun into ice. Good girl. Now come, the council is waiting. Wow. Now I'm being slammed with accusations of off-book blood trading and hauled to Elysium for interrogation? What the fuck? There's no way I'm playing along. Maybe I am, seeing as I'm about to go fang to fang with the creme de la creme of New York's ivory tower. Slang put a Cambria, mocking their aloofness and perceived elitism, pointing out their withdrawal from the realities faced by the broader vampire community. So, this is their joint, the art hole. Seriously? Could they have picked a more pretentious spot? The ivory tower splinters wedged itself right in the middle of New York City's swankiest road. Welcome to the still heart of the Cambria's intricate machinations. Here where the locals' kindred clink their glasses, all while plotting each other's demise. Unless, of course, you're a pariah like me. An outcast from a wrong clan with a knack for stirring up trouble. In which case, you're screwed from the get-go. I'm kind of wondering if you can play as their sire. Honestly, I prefer not knowing how posh it is. Places like this don't exactly roll out the red carpet for someone who deals in my kind of stuff. But since I've got no immediate escape plans, might as well play along. I'd happily shit on it in principle, but gotta admit, it seems pretty low-key on the outside. Not counting the two chuckling goons who clearly missed the memo when blending with the crowd. And on that note, is there a giggle-worthy revelation you'd care to share with me, Birdie? Your demeanor hints on a job well done, does it not? The awkward freeze frame those two are struck with would be comedy gold if I wasn't knee-deep in my own mess. Yeah, Mrs. Duval, sir. I mean, not really anything too wild, you know? Just like the usual stuff we're seeing, I guess. Does the usual stuff include dubious characters within a mile's reach of Elysium? Groups for which you were specifically instructed to watch out. 3 of them, to be exact, if my count holds true. Still, as she describes them, my mind races back to my unsuccessful meetup with Bernard and that weird run-in near our stash. Those dubious characters, could they be what D'Angelo was hinting at? Maybe they're the clue to the baffling disappearance of my sire. Might as well drop a subtle hint that without going full disclosure. Maybe I'll reel in some info while playing the part. You talking about the concealed carry enthusiasts snooping around like Trouble's their middle name? Went to a similar crew down by, near Washington Cemetery. Ooh. Is there something more to them than being overly fond of their Second Amendment rights? I appreciate the input, but that shouldn't be top on your list of worries at the moment, sugar. So much for intel fishing. I mean, I apologize. We really should have. Yes, you really should have. Oh, boy, that shot through him like an icy bullet. I wasn't exactly cozy myself. That poor sod probably just shed the last ounce of warmth left in him. Return to your duties at once. I'll be expecting a detailed report within the next hour. Yes, Mrs. Duval. Sir. He waddles off like a scolded kid, and his pal refuses to meet our eyes. I throw Valerie a look of unwilling respect. She obviously holds some serious clout in these parts. Come now, dragging your feet earns you no favors. And believe me, you could use a few. Is that an offer, Miss Duval? Her smile serves as enough of a silent veto to make it clear that prying any further is futile. Not exactly a good sign. She swings the door open, but there's no warm invitation in the gesture. The place doesn't quite live up to the posh art gallery image in my mind. Sure, there's a hint of what could be a Basquiat on the walls, but the art's either shoved aside or covered up. My instincts shift into overdrive. First up, quick room survey. No exposed fuse boxes, no signs of optical fiber installations. Frankly, not a trace of any civilized tech in sight. That's the thing with these old school meets modernity buildings. Just doesn't sit right with me. But of course, it's exactly the Camarilla style. Step 2 practically unfolds on its own. The room's a powder keg of kindred in the middle of an intense debate. The tension's palpable. Suspicion dialed up to 11. It's when their voices finally break through the walls of my focus. Oh, I remember you. Wouldn't have been such an issue if we'd taken action when the signs were so glaringly obvious. The long-haired hunk must be Kadir. Alice Mai? The Camarilla sheriff. Had my fill of stories about him. Now I can put a face to the reputation. If only the rest of us were blessed with your profound gift of foresight, Sheriff, and life would be a walk in the park. Allow me to emphasize, our risks aren't limited to a single front. Acting on a gut feeling might work wonders in motion pictures. Here, in the real world, it's a different story. This one's a mystery to me. The ways navigating the conversation is clearly a heavyweight in these parts. Spare me the pretense of ignorance, Arturo. The pattern was unmistakable well over a month ago. But now... Arturo. Thomas Arturo? Shit. Not explicitly told me to steer clear of this guy's mess. The bickering rages on and Valerie doesn't seem eager to reveal her catch, aka yours truly. Your playful decision to allow the Thin Bloods to appoint Larson as their primogen raises the final death to a level that can't be casually swept under the rug, Helene. Thin-blooded or not, it throws into question our grip on the situation. That gothed out Ally McBeal? Definitely Aisling Sturbridge. Tremere agent. Been curious if Renard's operation extends to the local chantry, but he was, as always, tight-lipped about his private affairs. Is that the prince? What would you have me do, then? Unleash our dear sheriff without adequate reconnaissance? Just look in the name of haste. Just in the name of haste? We can't overlook his excessive efficacy in the last skirmish, now can we? Doesn't the prospect of a masquerade breach give you pause? Behold the queen bee herself, Helene Pannard, the reigning prince of sticks up the ass. And figure we're all fond of keeping things the way they are. There's times to just sit back and think, and then there's times when you gotta step up and do something bold. This feels like it's time to make a move. An anarch championing chaos. A revelation that somehow fails to astonish. Oh, esteemed Baron of the Bronx. An anarch baron inside Elysium. Now that's a plot twist. What's the deal here? As I continue to look around, another figure catches my eye. Young-looking woman, entirely decked out in black, casually playing with a cigarette. She shoots me a brief glance, clearly picking up on my curiosity. That ancient fart in the wheelchair whispering to his servant. Who's that? Reddy's is about to chime in. Some lanky guy I totally missed till now decides to butt in. My apologies for interrupting Mrs. Payne, or Mr. Payne, but it appears Miss Duval has brought forth the issue you mentioned earlier. Might be wise to ensure she's not exposed to unnecessary information. How did I overlook that guy? He's all limbs and quirks, playing with some odd ring on his finger. Sticks out like in this upscale bunch like a sore thumb. Is my mojo on vacation or what? Yes, thank you. Yes. Thank you for that shrewd observation. Okay. Vampires without a clan. Oh! She hurls the words like she's spitting venom. Well, whatever the opposite of sympathy is, she's brimming with it. Wait. Caitiff? Esteemed counsel, I give you the troublesome Ravnos neonate. I gather you all desire a swift resolution in this matter. Recently embraced but released from under their sire's protection. Oh shit. Her disruptions have been minimal thus far. Let us hope that trend continues. As if on cue, every eye shifts on me. I'm not one to buckle under stage fright, but this silent ostracism is on a whole new level. In this room, I understand the formal necessity of addressing all. This, as well as my role on the matter. Where there are more pressing concerns demanding attention. Far more pressing. Shall we discard all traditions too well-rounded? We pirouetted around the Hudson problem for more than a year, yet progress remains as stale as our debate. Certainly a few additional moments to honor the very laws you spearhead so vigorously couldn't hurt, could they? The Hudson's a completely different beast, as you're well aware. We need to address the locust swarm engulfing New York before the Camarille's entire framework crumbles beneath its weight. And how does that sit with you, Payne? Just last night, 2 Duskborn and a fledgling from your clan were reduced to ashes. We're still in the dark about who's pulling the strings. Shouldn't that worry you more than policing the purity of the red market? The old guy's servant stepped forwards and all awkward and rigid. In principle, I agree, Sheriff. However, should we continue to disregard even minor infractions, we broadcast a message of vulnerability. Vulnerability threatens our efforts within and beyond our borders. Efforts we plan to carry on without interruption once the locust swarm, as you've termed it, is eradicated. Wait. This is one of the old ones. The person you get to play. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm inclined to agree with Gramps on this one. We can't simply let something like that slip through the cracks without taking proper measures. So, you've assumed the role of his advocate now. Quite the bold ascent up the ladder of your own making. What's next on the horizon? Another hostile? Enough. Enough already. Awkward silence falls over the room, but it seems more about customs than actual respect. Guess we're all just creatures of habit, undead or alive. The sheer theatrics of this situation give me a moment to sneak a glance at... Is it just me, or does Prince Pennard look beat and scared? I guess she's not exactly winning any popularity contests here, aside from that ascot-wearing douche. Seems like everyone's just barely putting up with her leadership. Could the situation outside be really that dire? When the prince finally managed to speak, her voice lacks the confidence you anticipate from someone at the helm. Oh, here from the same reason you are, Aisling. Or am I mistaken and you forget where your loyalties lie? Even now, as she turns to me, her presence is weighed down. Not that I care. My head's on the chopping block, and, well, she's the one calling the shots on whether it stays put or rolls off. Now, let's put this issue to rest here now. Try for brevity, Sheriff. Understood. The weight of his gaze is enough for me to lower my shoulders. Whatever comes is not going to be pretty. Callie of Clan Ravnos, you stand accused of violating the New York Camaria's praxis, infringing on the tradition of hospitality, and endangering the masquerade, among other things. Shit. Wait. On what grounds? Drop the act. There's a wealth of evidence on that recreational vehicle of yours, most of it confirming the suspicions we've been harboring over the recent months. Petty theft from our subjects, impersonation of other kindred, lineage forgery. Need I go on? Okay, guilty. When did they start caring? It's not like I'm the only one dipping my toes into the ocean of misdemeanors. At least they don't know about our artifact gig. But your involvement in large-scale blood and mortal trafficking outside our scrutiny in the jurisdiction of the circulatory system is as obvious as it is dangerous to the stability of our domain. Large scale my ass. We hardly move anything through New York. Definitely not enough to impact their operations. Plus, we're super careful. Especially with your clientele often being in direct hostility of our interests, as Primogen Payne was kind enough to confirm. Seriously, that can't be right. We always check out our clients. Renard does, but is this some twisted way to set an example? Are they really playing the undead IRS? What's their game, really? Well, some might chalk this up to colossal stupidity. I'm neither so forgiving nor tolerant of fraudsters who respect nothing but their own gain. I'm not blind to the fact that Renard's completely MIA in this whole story. He's the big cheese, the head honcho to the entire affair. Calling it an affair might be giving it too much credit. So why are they making it out like I'm the mastermind behind some global crime syndicate? This is not the time to be quiet, Raven. Obviously you've found something. How could you not when you're the one who planted it there to begin with? Careful, Icarus. I've watched The Exonerated. I know the drill. Look, I get you need someone to pin this on, but you've got the wrong... Out of nowhere, something pierces my mind, shredding its defenses to dust. Like my head's been turned inside out, exposing my every thought for their amusement. I whip my head toward the source of this eerie sensation, and boom, there's Kadir. The freaking sheriff with those piercing eyes, slicing through my layers of BS like it's cake. I earnestly hope you're not taking me for a fool. It would be a misstep of monumental proportions, unlike anything these walls have witnessed. I get a glimpse of Aisling out of the corner of my eye, silently mouthing the words that look suspiciously like I beg to differ. Right then, a curved sword appears in Kadir's hand, though it's been pulled straight from thin air. Maybe I'm just going nuts. Honestly, I'd be totally shitting my pants right now if that part of me wasn't offline. I'm not here for your games, little Raven. Choose your next words carefully. I'd argue this utter lunacy clears her of her charges. She couldn't even cobble together a feasible story, much less orchestrate clandestine trading of this magnitude. And yarn spinning is supposed to be your clan's forte, isn't it? Last chance, my dear. Is there anything of substance you wish to add? Shit. This can't really be happening, right? What's my move? What would Renard do? Renard. He had the decency to pop up or at least toss me a fucking heads up. I wouldn't be knee-deep in this disaster. Is he really in trouble or... What if he bailed on me? Got a hint that the Camaria was was breathing down his neck and decided I'm the perfect scapegoat. That doesn't sound like him. But why target me, not Renard? Sure, he's gone now, but could they really be that clueless about him? I'm totally lost, but I do know what he would probably do. His move would be to look out for number one, spill the beans, more than necessary to buy some time. Time is gold, and with enough of it, maybe there's just a chance to wiggle out of this mess. It's all or nothing now. Hit the jackpot or end up porcupine with the stakes. Guess there's not much point in playing dumb, huh? Couldn't agree more. Game on. Alright then. So, I indeed am tangled up in this blood trafficking operation. Playing a pretty crucial part, if I do say so myself. Though I guess not everyone's on board with that assessment. I do the logistics, pushing merchandise through a series of dark web channels. Every eyebrow in the room goes up except for the cigarette aficionado in the back, who lets out a slight smirk. I mean, a little controlled drama never hurts in a short con. All totally secure and anonymous. No slips about, our thing. Everything masked by the hustle of more mundane black markets. No whimmer blowing the masquerade. We deal in stored blood, as you might have caught on. Not just any blood, though. Our merch is a little jazzed up. Thaumaturgically enhanced, to be exact. It's the only way they'd work, as you're well aware. I am, but that's not for you to find out. Right, of course. Oh, we also deal in, let's call them family treasures. But honestly, that's more like a side gig than anything serious. We're extremely careful about picking our clients. Really thorough when it comes to making deals. You know, the traditions and all. I was sure we'd never even come close to breaking them. At least that's what he'd let me believe. I had a hunch that there were some dodgy dealings in his more secret ventures. To deny that it would be a flat-out lie, but let's be real. I'm way outside the inner circle to have a real sway in these parts, in those parts of his enterprise. For a brief moment, an uneasy silence sweeps over him. His enterprise? Is this a joke? Exactly who is this he you're referring to? I give it my all to appear as blameless as possible. I presumed you knew this was all my sire who masterminds it all. The room's heavy silence is soon filled with hushed whispers following my revelation. Good. Fortune's on my side. Might just live to see another moonrise. Indeed, how fortuitous. Your sire would be... There's only one other notable rogue in the city who comes to mind. Someone dipping in and out, known for their shifty nature. Which I was somewhat aware. Renard Cassell. You nailed it, Chief. Sir. Another brief moment of silence gets interrupted by the girl in black who addresses the sheriff. I can practically hear the cogs turning in your head, Kadir. What's your take on it? Truth be told, it does add up, though Adam pegged is more a con artist than a trafficker. Why hasn't he been apprehended yet, Sheriff? Are you secretly endorsing activities that impede the circulatory system's operations? For your own good, Payne, I'll pretend I didn't catch that. Or would you care to question my dedication to our cause again? Be warned, my patience wears extremely thin these nights. Can we put this bickering on hold, at least for the moment? Opportunity staring me in the face. Could I resist squeezing myself right into it? One more thing. Renard and I had a meeting lined up with a client a few hours back, but he never showed up. In the whole year and a half I've been in this gig, he's never vanished like this. What do you make of it? Now with the floodgates of truth wide open, it's time to dive into the art of lying my ass off. To be honest, I'm not sure. But now that I think of it, he's changed more over the past month. Become a lot more erratic than usual. Ready for my theory? Pretty sure he caught wind of your lot and decided to feed me to the flames while he made a run for it. Whether they're swallowing my story or they're just tired of my presence, it feels like I'm nudging things in the way I want them. Not everyone's convinced, though. Unwitting pawn betrayed by her master. Likely story. Suitable for the stage, indeed, but in this context, if I may. Damn it, Patriot, don't go getting yourself into... Baron's warning arrives a bit too late. Instantly, the others shift their focus, fixing their eyes on the caitiff, whose with unmistakable hostility. Wow. Those are two different things. It's clear they're not exactly fond of him. Since you've already disrupted the proceedings, you might as well say your piece, mediator. Well then, I'm inclined to believe her. At least in the aspects most significant to the interests of our allies. Thanks, you mysterious weirdo. As ever, your assertion remains devoid of substance. My guy's advice is pretty much always on point. His track record speaks for itself. The sheriff has a point that seems to hold water. Sire might just be the one at fault. She's essentially a non-entity, is she not? Nobody that slipped under the radar until by a stroke of sheer bad luck she got caught red-handed. Do excuse the pun. When you give it another look, the evidence you have collected should indeed come back to back up the claim quite convincingly. And what grounds your intricate evaluation precisely? My judgment is shaped by your vast experience and simply tempered by reasoning and intuition. It changes little regarding the consequences she must face her complicity in her sire's crimes. Do or die. How about I serve you Renard's head on a silver platter in exchange for mine, unscathed on my shoulders? Kadir's stare pins me under silent disapproval, but he lets me, as the curly-haired ass put it, spin my yarn. I know all the secret spots in this town, plus the spots he wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. I'm wired into his network, his contacts. I've got his playbook down, and I can stay one step ahead of him with ease. Just give me a chance, and we'll all be thanking our lucky stars by the end. They slip into quiet introspection, or maybe they're playing around with mental chess, trying to read each other's minds without uttering a word. I have reservations about the staring position, considering the potential of fallout and if this entire situation spiraled out of control. Kadir throws up his hand, clearly over dealing with my case. Capturing this well proved hardly a challenge. I wouldn't sweat the idea of catching her again. What's more interesting with Cassell resolves two issues at once. It swiftly eliminates her presence, and it enables us to prioritize on genuine concerns. But someone has to keep a constant watch over her. Valerie, perhaps one of yours. A batshit crazy idea bursts into my mind. A kind of a gamble can either turn out brilliantly or spectacularly implode. Let the dice roll. How about him? Jab my finger toward the quiet caitiff. Patriarch, wasn't? His expression shifts to one of utter confusion, and he catches the subtle smirks of the council members. Surely you're not considering. It could play out quite favorably, I must admit. Quite favorably indeed. Holy shit, it actually worked. Very well, Patriot Conroy. I hereby appoint you as the agent caretaker for this Ravnos neonate. Hate to break it to you, Sheriff, but this call is out of your turf. He's with us Anarchs, and you know it well enough. Anarch revolt, the sect is as old as the revolution against Camarilla itself. All vampires who fall outside the tower's control are considered unbound. And the Anarch movement is a small but visible subsection of the unbound. Who, rather than hide, have decided to fight back. Technically, when he took on the whole peacemaker role for our cliques, he acquired a level of neutrality, so yeah. Kadir redirects his gaze to the caitiff. Your responsibility is to ensure she fulfills the assignment within 4 nights starting now. Any slip-ups on her end will reflect on your record as well. Do we have an understanding? 4 nights? Not a whole lot, but better than nothing. Every extra nod mirrors exactly how I feel. Now, back to where we were. Their sudden disinterest in me is a clear get out of here signal. Seems I've managed to slide from one pit into another. But hey, I've bought myself a little time. In my world, that's precious currency. Unless, of course, the caitiff turns out to be a wild card. And that, for now, is where I will end this, because my voice hurts. And I'm a little lightheaded, but I am having a drink. Don't mind my Malibu. It's a little neat to read one of these. And I am going to save here. And I will get back to it.